Boy, I'm pretty excited. Got a call from a friend who's going to be moving out of state, and we wanted to do one last backpacking trip. So we're going to head off to Dolly Sods in West Virginia. It's world famous in this area. And I have to pack up real quick. We don't have a lot of time, but I want to show you the food I'm taking. Here's the food I'm taking for 3 days, 2 nights in Dolly Sods. It's an absolutely beautiful area, world famous here. Taking instant potatoes, gonna cut up some Spam into tiny bite-sized pieces, and blending in the Velveeta jalapeno cheese sauce. I am gonna be in heaven. For breakfast, I'm gonna be having low-bond rice with lingonberries. Lingonberries are very similar to cranberries. They're very popular in Scandinavia. That's where you find them. They grow wild there. And Blowbond is one of the brands of freeze-dried meals that I learned about from living in Sweden and backpacking the King's Trail. Lunch, old timers may remember this. Mountain House used to have a chicken salad. This is one of my absolute favorite freeze-dried meals. They stopped making it. Last year about this time, a friend of mine was eating this. I said, "Where did you get that?" And he had gotten a whole mess from some other friends who weren't going to eat it. And so he gifted me several of these things. So I've, again, been in heaven. Real Termot, another brand of freeze-dried foods. Some pasta bolognese this time. Also learned about that hiking on the King's Trail. This is really good. Had a Polish group actually start arguing with each other on which recipe of the Real Termot was the best. And finally, the man who could speak the best English, my Polish sucks, the man who could speak the best English said, "They're all the best." So I went and I bought one of each, and so far I have not been disappointed. For breakfast, on our last day, I took 2 instant oatmeal packets, some of my spicy trail mix for crunch, and I added some cinnamon. So I'll just soak that in the morning, pour in some hot water while I'm putting the tent up. Snacks for the trip. You can't go wrong with Pop-Tarts. Cliff Bars, of course, my homemade trail mix I've told you about before. And for the first time ever, apricot fruit leather. Half applesauce, half cans of apricots. Stir them up in a blender and throw them on the dehydrator. They're still real flexible. So it's still fruit leather. And boy, does it taste good. So that's the food. 2.5 days, 3 days. What would you take? Well, with just a couple days planning, we made it here, got the food. I showed you it's all in here. That's my 50-liter pack. I'm gonna try that a little bit smaller than usual. Usually I got my 65-liter. And there's the trail going up that way. We're gonna go about 3 miles and take it easy today. So when you're coming this way, don't go that way. And you kind of look in here. You don't want to go through any of that mess. That's a nicer way. We just spent 10 minutes or so. Followed the Red Creek down there. Came up this way. Interesting though that we crossed this. So apparently we missed a right turn back there someplace, because that's where we should have come from, we think. Or should we? We don't know. We've been going about an hour. A little humid here. And if you're going the other way, you'd see the stack of stones here, Karen, and you'd say, "Oh, the trail must be this way." Now, we came down that way, but if you just stood here, looked around, that doesn't look like a trail. This over here looks more like a trail. That's the wrong way. So normally I'm against cairns, but might work here. The humidity has been pretty high here. We're glowing at least, if not sweating a little. Trails are not blazed. We're using our map and compass quite a bit. This is the Red Creek. I don't know. Why do they give names for these things? We never know. We're hoping he doesn't fall in, but just in case. So we think this is iron tannins because it's red on the bottom.
I think it's
and
iron
it settles out.
red on the bottom, and it doesn't. The water doesn't seem to be brown the way it is.
You can even see the red color in the white water as it's hitting the water down there. Even the falling water is red. A little red tint to it. One thing I like is you come out here and you meet other people, other backpackers, and everybody comes from a different place. And this lady here, real nice lady, she's got a new pillow, new tent, and she insists that we go up to the next campsite and check out the waterfall. And we tried to say, no, we're just going to go back. Oh no, you have to go up. And so, just socially, it was going to be rude if we didn't go up and see the waterfall. So, if we get up there and the waterfall's worth anything, I'll take some pictures so you get to share it too. All right, so here's the waterfall we heard about. Well, if you're not going to have blazes, maybe cairns aren't such a bad idea. Well, we got to meet our neighbors, a nice retired lady and a young kid, I don't know, maybe around 30 or so. They're camped just a little bit north of where we are. Here's where we decided to camp, just beyond my poles, a nice little flat place, a little inclination. The water will drain away if we do get any precipitation, and we're right next to the water. I'll get you a better picture of the little waterfall thing that's right behind my tent. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, we've got a fire ring. But the ground and everything seems to be wet, so I'm not sure we're going to be able to get anything to burn. And as we're hiking in, I looked for dead sticks, that kind of thing, you know, that would be indication that it's a good place for a fire. And we're just not finding anything. So this might be a fireless night. And tonight for dinner, and some mashed potatoes with some Velveeta jalapeno cheese sauce with some cut up Spam. Oh man, breakfast of champions. I've told you about single piece trash before, and this person, yeah, single piece trash, but the only problem is they left the whole stupid wrapper here at Dolly Sods, and so I'm going to carry out the whole thing. But luckily it wasn't just this piece. They left it together as a single piece. They did the right part except for the extraction. It's the end of day one. Give you some roses, buds, and thorns. Of course, one of my all-time roses is I'm just still able to be out here. My last backpacking trip is coming up. I don't know when it is, though. Hopefully it's 20 years from now. I'm still able to do this. This is pretty good. So the drive over today, that was about 6 hours. Yeah, nice traffic, so that's a rose for sure. We got here and the trail is not marked. There's no blazes. There's some signs. But with some map and compass skills, we had no problem following the trail. A couple of really cool waterfalls. Found a real decent place to have dinner. There's already a pre-made fire ring, and somebody actually stacked some flat rocks, so there's actually a small little table. So that was really cool. Dinner was another rose, instant potatoes, cut up Spam, and then the Velveeta cheesy jalapeno sauce. Oh, is it good? My tummy is happy. So I am here with a friend of mine. He's moving away, which is kind of a thorn, but in terms of roses, you know, that we can get out here and do this, and probably won't be able to do these short trips with him, just he'll be so far away, but we'll still be able to do the longer summer trips on the AT together. Well, that's the rose. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow. We'll end up camping at Lion's Head. And I'm not exactly sure what to expect when we get up there, but everybody said it's beautiful. I'm expecting it to not be tree covered like this. I'm expecting to have a view. And so that's what I'm hoping anyway, get a nice view. It'll be about 10 miles. The trails aren't simple here. There's a lot of rocks and roots and some ups and downs. And so it'll be a challenge, but when we get there, we'll be ready for dinner. Dinner tonight was really good, but I already mentioned that. So that's the bud for tomorrow. The weather should be really good too. Highs in the very low 70s, maybe high 60s. And lows tonight, maybe 50 Fahrenheit, 10 Celsius. And so the weather is beautiful. No rain forecasted. I am a little concerned about the dew point. I expect we may have some fog and some heavy moisture. And then here, of course, next to the water, there's a chance we could have some condensation in the tents. In terms of thorns, I don't think I have any. If you think of some, write them in down below for me. Talk to you tomorrow. Breakfast this morning is going to be blow-bond rice with lingonberries. Getting the water boiling. Look at that in there. Just like little pieces of styrofoam. I'm hoping it turns into rice pudding. A watched pot never boils, and while I'm waiting for the water to boil for my lingonberry pudding, or lingonberry rice pudding, I'm going to eat some Pop-Tarts.
Isn't bad at all. He says before he falls in.
Well, we're going to find out how these not waterproof boots work. There's a railroad grade trail going up to Lion's Head. I show you all the time about how trails are marked with the wood to tell you not to go down it. First thing I saw when I saw this one was, oh, here's another one, pretty extensive, and it goes pretty far back. But my friend Matt, he says, nah, take a look at it. This is actually a wilderness shelter somebody built, and it's collapsed, or they dropped it when they left, because it's like a whole roof system there. All right, so you can go that way then. We're going to leave our packs and make a run for a view about a mile away. Never leave your food unattended. for a view and found a legit sign, so we know where we are.
You go up here, you get about to the high point, and then there's a big rock field, just stone everywhere. And you get just past that, and then there's a well-marked trail that goes to the left. It goes down and then around.
Short detour up the Rocky Ridge Trail brings you to, oh, I don't know, I would call this a rocky ridge of some kind. Beautiful views, cell service. It's awful nice. And I'm pointing at me, not at you. He was waving real nice. He's very friendly. There's some more rocky ridge and some more views. Real nice out here. I'm looking as far as I can into the distance, and I'm only getting 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 ridges. Saw 16 in Alaska, but I was up higher. That was about a 0.8 detour out towards a bench where you could sit and look out over the valley. There's some military airplanes flying. You could hear them. Then when they tipped up on a wingtip, you can see their outline. I'm guessing A-10s, but I'm not sure. Reminded me of time I was in Herzliya, I think it was, in Israel, and went to an Air Force museum or aviation museum that was on the airbase. And the whole time I was there, fighter planes were taking off and landing, taking off and landing. And later I found out that they were doing a strike in Gaza that day. And a little bit unnerving. If there had been a counterattack, they very likely could have come at the airbase where I was. So a little, unnerving. So we've had a beautiful day today. Met only a few people, but they've been really nice to talk to. One guy gave us real good advice on how to find this picnic bench thing or park bench thing out at the end of a walk out on a ridge to a Harmon Peak, Harmon Bald, maybe something like that. I'll have to look it up, see the exact name. Just been a beautiful day. And as you probably saw, we left our packs back at an intersection, but we hung our food. And you never want to walk away from your packs with food in them, even if you haven't seen any bears or raccoons or chipmunks or anything, because they've been watching. Those are those little red eyes that you can see at night. In the daytime, they're watching you too. So we only took a few minutes. It took less than 5 minutes to throw a bear rope, haul up the bear bags or the food bags. So you can do that too. I am out of water, totally dry, sucked every drop I got. Here's a cool beaver dam. I'm considering the water on the backside of that thing is stagnant. I don't really want to pull from there. Though I got tablets though, so I mean I'm gonna make it good water. Somehow if I can get over here though, where it's moving, but it's all mud between here and there. That's where I want to get to, or someplace downstream of that. There's a waterfall in an hour or so, but I'm out now, and I think it's really bad form to continue without water. Beautiful here though, beautiful day. High 66 according to the computer, but feels a lot warmer than that in the sun. All right, I'm not in danger. I have food, I have water, I have the ability to make more water. I have my Garmin GPS, so I could push the helicopter button if I need to. So I'm not in danger, but I don't know where the trail is. It's here somewhere. I know it is. I've had the map out, and it's real flat here, so you really can't use the topography to really know anything. So I've resorted to using electronics. I pulled out the Gaia app, and I'm literally going cross country and hoping that when I get to the trail, I'm following a bearing, hoping that when I get to the trail, I recognize it. Just because you hit the trail doesn't mean it looks like a trail. So I just want to share that with you now, and I'll upload it to the internet if I can, and if they never find my body, well, then you can share this with them and let them know I was at least trying. And so no, I'm going to be fine, and we got plenty of daylight, but I think I'm technically lost. I don't know where I am. I guess that counts, right? So anyway, I thought I would share that with you now in a way to maybe help me focus and calm down and think logically. And so that's what I'm going to do, and I'll let you know if I find the trail. All right, so I've been following a compass bearing of 060 or 60 degrees, and eventually I see this, and let me tell you, this looks like a trail to me. So I'm no longer lost. Don't worry. Don't call my mom. I'm good. And I found this fairly quickly, about 15 minutes worth of going cross country. And it's just absolutely beautiful out here. And boy, did I do silk blazing. I was the only human to walk through some of these areas in a long time. And I bet the spiders are pretty surprised that nobody comes and knocks their webs down. They'll be up tomorrow morning, so don't worry about that either. All right, so I'm not lost. I've got a little bit more than a mile to go to a waterfall where I'm gonna actually fill up totally as much as I can carry with nice clean water. Right across from this beautiful waterfall, we found a kitchen table. So here's where we're gonna make dinner. Friend's gonna have jambalaya, and I'm gonna have pasta bolognese. Eating like kings. Definitely come over, check out the falls. Nice clean water we can filter and food. Except for the rice pudding with lingonberries I had for breakfast this morning. This is the best food I've had all day. Need a map to know what the trail numbers are. Luckily, we have the map. We're setting up camp here. And we had dinner at our last water source by the waterfall. So first thing we'd have to do, hang our food bags. Perfect, 5 feet down. Probably 8 feet or more from the ground, way out from the trunk. And we use a PCT hang. If you don't know what that is, put a comment down below, and I'll do a demo on it one time. We made it up to Lion's Head for the sunset. That's facing east. I can't see west yet, but I'll swing you around here when we get there. It's a pretty sunset from way up here. These are the rocks up on Lion's Head. Crevices between all of them. If you dropped your phone, if you fell in, this is all over the place. I don't have any words that can describe this. You'll need to come here yourself. We're on the way out, heading back to the cars. I can't wait to tell you about all the roses and buds. A couple little thorns, but Yeah, it's beautiful looking the other way too. Can I make the jump to that rock? What do you think? Did it. One of the roses is the beauty of the nature here. And I'm just sorry, I am sure I cannot capture it. Well, the roses, buds, and thorns for the Dolly Sods trip were almost endless. We had a deer that was the only deer we saw, decided to have a kind of a standoff with us, just sat there and looked at us. Don't even know why, didn't seem like he was used to people being around, but he wasn't afraid of us either. And so that was kind of cool. We did have a mid-trip change in plans. We decided to drop our packs and hang our food bag, as you saw, and do it was about 0.8 pack trip out along the Ridge Trail and out to Harmon Point. And they had a bench out there and everything for sitting and enjoying the view while we were there. Looked like there's A10 warthogs doing some kind of maneuvers, and they're coming along through the valley, then up over the far ridge, and as they tipped up, you could kind of tell their outline, and so they look like A10s to me. Campsites both nights were just awesome. The first night we were right next to the little waterfall thing, so we get our water and had the sound of the crashing waves all night long, so it was real nice, good background noise. And then the next one, we're up in some area where the pine trees have been planted in nice straight rows. Lots of places to put up the tents and great places for hanging the bear bags. The view from Lion's Head was just awesome too. Got to go up there and see the sunset, and it was just beautiful. Huge sweeping valley. Got to see the rock formation that looks like it's a Lion's Head. It's a little cooler the second night, but I was still okay. It was nice sleeping weather. I had the right equipment. I had my 30-degree bag, and yeah, I went down probably into the mid-60s at most, so I was totally comfortable. One thing that was really cool, we were sitting at the fire ring. We didn't have a fire. We were sitting at the fire ring, and there was a glow off to the east. And so we tried to figure out what it was. Even got out the maps looking, trying to figure out what could be over there, because we were actually up on a ridge. So a light that high up, it's kind of suspicious. And we probably talked about it and looked at it for, maybe a half hour, I guess, and kept getting bigger, and we speculated different things. It could be maybe a city, or a little concerned that it could be a fire, but it didn't flicker and flash, and it was just white and no apparent smoke. And so the longer we looked at it, the longer we studied it, the brighter and brighter it got, until obviously it was the moon coming up. So it's a good way to spend the evening, trying to figure out what's going on around you. And in terms of buds, I've got a whole mess of backpacking trips coming up. The Scout Troop is going to go do the Virginia Triple Crown and the Appalachian Trail, Dragon's Tooth, McAfee Knob, Tinker Cliffs. And one of the nice things is Scouts are planning this whole thing. Of course, I'll be there for their safety and make sure logistics are actually planned well. But these kids are pretty well experienced. They know what they're doing. And so I'm looking forward to that. A little after that, I'll be doing Laurel Highlands in Pennsylvania. And that's a great trip. I've done that before. And they've got shelters there, and a little fireplace in each shelter. So even if it's a little bit cold, we'll be fine. That's the buds. The thorns for Dolly Sods, weren't that serious. The trails are not blazed. The intersections are marked, and they're all numbered, so you can figure out where you are if you've got a map. But since there's no blazes, there are a lot of fake trails where people go straight when they're supposed to curve, and it's real easy for people like us to follow afterwards. And so we resorted real often to the map, figure out where we were, and use the compass. So that was good to kind of refresh those skills. We, though, just for efficiency, we started relying a lot on the Gaia app. You bring that up, it tells you right where you are, and spin around a little bit to align the compass marker in Gaia. It works out really well. I did come home with an extra pound of food, and I just can't get the volume of food dialed in. I'm always coming home with extra food, except for when I did Shenandoah National Park. The reason I did not come home with lots of extra food is I gave it away the night before at the Pass Mountain Shelter. So that was really kind of cheating. I did get lost in the pine forest at Dolly Sods, and that's exactly where Matt said, "Hey, did you get lost in the pine forest?" I said, "Yeah, that's where I got lost." And that's where I showed you I just used Gaia and figured out a bearing to bring me back to the trail. And a lot of still blazing, and I got through there. And so that wasn't so much fun, but you know, to get lost and then find yourself, yeah, that gives you some confidence and experience. So the one thing that I was not expecting when I got home from Dolly Sods, I've been actually out a little more than 2 weeks, and I couldn't stop eating. I was so hungry, and I'm not quite sure why. But if you want to put Dolly Sods on your list of places to go, I certainly would recommend it.